The Hocking Homes team.
Hello, this is Caroline and Ian Hocking of the Hocking Homes team here at Keller Williams Experience in Barry. Today we're going to be talking about some concerns or issues that could come up if you purchase an older property, the century homes, that kind of thing.
Okay.
What could we expect to find, perhaps?
Well, there's a couple of key things that typically we see more often than not. The first thing is, don't expect a century home to be built quite the same way as a modern home. In some respects, they could be built stronger. They're usually made of brick as opposed to wood. But of course, 100 years ago or even sort of 50 years ago, building conditions were slightly different than they are today. So a couple of things that we usually see more often than not. One is wiring. And the other one is insulation. And what I mean by wiring is to a very much older home like a century home, very good chance you can get knob and tube wiring. You'll probably recognize that fairly easy. A ceramic kind of knob is about this big with the wire that goes into it. And that's usually okay unless you start to mess with it. So insurance companies don't like it very much because it's very easy to crack the ceramic knob, and then you get hot spots, and of course that could lead to fire. So insurance companies are really a bit of a no-no when it comes to knob and tube. The other type of wiring, which was probably more in the 1960s, 70s, was aluminum wiring. And aluminum wiring in itself isn't too bad, again, unless it's disturbed or if it's connected to copper wiring. And what we often see is there'll be a copper outlet connected to aluminum wiring in the house, and then the copper and the aluminum, they both expand at different rates, and that can create hot spots as well. And again, insurance companies will ask some questions about that. Doesn't mean to say you can't get insurance, doesn't mean to say it's 100% negative. It just needs to be treated in the right way. There's a process called pigtailing, which a licensed electrician can do, which will actually make that safe, and you'll get a certificate from the electrician to make sure that's okay. So that's something to be aware of there. I mentioned insulation. So with insulation, most insulation is fairly okay, but there's one particular type of insulation that we have seen. It comes up quite frequently, in actual fact, in areas of Barry and around, and it's called vermiculite. And there's two types of vermiculite insulation. There's, in fact, I'll just backtrack, but there's two places in the world usually that vermiculite came from. One is the Libby mine in Montana, and the other one is a mine in South Africa. And in the Libby mine in Montana, the vermiculite that came out of that mine actually had asbestos in it. So if you find vermiculite, it's usually the seller doesn't know it's there. So again, it's a bit of a surprise to both parties that they find it. And if you find vermiculite, the answer is to have it tested. Not all vermiculite has asbestos in it. In fact, most of our tests come back negative. But the fact is you need to have it tested. So just be prepared for that. Occasionally it comes up, it's just a process. If it has asbestos in the vermiculite, then it really should be removed. But again, a licensed contractor can advise you on how to do that the best way. So those are just some of the things that we find in older properties, century homes, and some of the homes built in the 1960s and 70s.
There's nothing really you can't get past.
Oh,
It's
no,
just
not at all.
knowing the right people, having the team behind you, and just being informed.
Yeah, most definitely. So if you'd like more information about that, or if you're interested in selling or purchasing a century home, give us a call at the Hocking Homes team at 705 252 7939.